This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening. I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. Topping the news tonight, adverse weather conditions lashing Grand Bahama last night. The system that was accompanied by a severe thunder and lightning storm dumped heavy rain in some areas of the island. Tonight, Met officials admit that the weather system caught them by surprise as well. Swirling winds, thunder and lightning, and pouring rain caught many residents of Grand Bahama off guard as the storm system raged across the island Monday evening, shortly after 7 o'clock.
We had a lot of moisture over Florida, developed a lot of convection, and because the steering currents were west and southwest, all that activity came over us. So towards sunset, I had moved over the waters, and there were marine advisories from Florida, and the bulk of the weather moving to the Grand Bahama area, where we had some strong wind gusts and some rain. The rain didn't last too long.
Senior Meteorological Officer Kirk James says that system brought much-needed rain to the island, although we have been experiencing isolated showers over the past few weeks.
The rain has been out there, but mostly over the waters. North and south of Grand Bahama, we had quite a bit of rainfall. And you mentioned rain being in sectors, which are isolated, typical of isolated showers. The South Shore has been really deprived of rain for a long time. Like you say, your area, my area, a lot of the southern section. And you could see the difference in the vegetation. It's quite brown and dry out there, as opposed to areas closer to the airport where it normally rains.
But the hot, humid, and dry weather has been hard to ignore recently. The month of June usually averages rainfall over 6 inches, and while this June only saw a little over 3 inches of rain, James says that's not a record, but he notes that the southerly winds are to blame for the hot and dry weather.
The south sector and the southwest winds, they bring in a lot of heat and humidity. When your winds out the east and northeast tend to be drier, and north, of course, is the driest sector. Northwest, north would be the driest sector. So the heat because of the prolonged southeast, south, and southwest winds.
We are 1 month into the 2015 Atlantic hurricane season, and James says experts are still predicting a below-average season.
And the reason for that, perhaps mostly because they expect an El Nino event, and the sea surface temperatures were pretty much normal instead of above normal. All right, so those factors, climatologically, the experts looking for a below average season. However, I want to emphasize that the preparedness level should be the same.
Well, adverse conditions continued this afternoon with a severe lightning storm, which is believed to have ignited a fire at Costrite. Reports say the freezer unit caught fire and the fire department was called in to assist. Grand Bahamas Fire Chief ASP Ernest Hanna says while the fire erupted during the lightning storm, it is still too early to determine the exact cause of the blaze.
We responded with our 2 engines and our complement officers, and when we arrived, we met smoke coming from a freezer that is attached to the Costrite building itself. Further investigation, we discovered a fire in the freezer that we suspect it was caused by an electrical source that was contained at the freezer.
ASP Hanna commended fire crews for their timely response and for bringing the fire under control.
We have some information indicating that a lightning storm was in the area and may have been the cause. We have yet to confirm that. Our investigation will lead us into the true source of the fire. I think officers did a tremendous job. It could have been, the outcome could have been much different if it wasn't for the quick action of our officers. I'd like to thank them for their quick response and the good job they did on the scene today.
The employees were not hurt and no major damage was reported to the building or goods at the store. The store had to be closed following that incident. Investigations continue. Police are arraigning 4 additional persons in connection with a housebreaking ring on Grand Bahama. The group was arraigned before Magistrate Debbie Ferguson today on housebreaking and stealing charges. They are 33-year-old Errol Miller, 28-year-old Tex Taylor, 18-year-old Travan Barry, and 19-year-old Darrell Simmons, all of South Bahama. They were arraigned on 2 counts of housebreaking and 2 counts of stealing from a dwelling house while being concerned together. Tex Taylor was also arraigned on an additional count of housebreaking and 1 count of stealing from a dwelling house. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges, and the matter was adjourned to tomorrow. Attorney Carlson Sherland and Ashley Evans represented Darrell Simmons and Errol Miller. 4 persons, Anthony Higgs, Christopher Stewart, Cordell Tarlis, and Shamik Hall, were arraigned on similar charges last week. Meanwhile, 5 Cuban migrants intercepted at sea by the United States Coast Guard vessel Flores in the vicinity of Elbow Key last week. The 5 men were transported to the Lucayan Harbor on Saturday morning and handed over to the Immigration Department for processing. The migrants were flown to New Providence to be housed at the detention center to await repatriation to Cuba. This is the 2nd group of Cuban migrants to be intercepted at sea and turned over to the Immigration Department within a week. In other news, the Bahamas Public Service Union Northern Region taking time out to honor men and women who have given exemplary service to the growth of a strong Bahamas. The group was recognized during a special luncheon today. Italia Hall has the story.
Under the theme Solidarity Forever Together We Stand, the Bahamas Public Services Union is celebrating 56 years in the labor movement. On Tuesday, the Northern Region branch hosted a luncheon at Le Chateau on the Green, where 15 persons were honored, including past vice presidents, shop stewards, and retirees. The BPSU is described as a unique organization because of its scope and diversity. President John Pinder says it is through the honorees' hard work and dedicated service that the organization is standing strong today.
56 years ago, the Bahamas Public Service Union was registered as a trade union. First in 58, we formed the Civil Society Association. That's what they were called, the Civil Service Association. In 1958, that was right around the time most of the unions were being worked in the Bahamas. And then in 59, we registered as a trade union. And so we, right around the end of June, early July, begin the celebrations of this year's anniversary, which will make us 56 years of age.
Managing Director of the Public Hospitals Authority and former branch secretary Herbert Brown commended the honorees for their contributions to the public service.
They are examples of commitment and courage, having put themselves on the line to advance the work and the purpose of the Bahamas Public Services Union. They have been faithful stewards of the trust placed in them by their fellow union brothers and sisters.
Brown said labor must become the champions of productivity.
We must be the loudest voice crying out for reform in education that will have young people graduating from high school ready to work and, more importantly, able to work.
The group was then presented with awards and gifts. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Italia. The East End community celebrating the country's 42nd anniversary of independence. A cultural extravaganza was held at the public park in High Rock this past weekend to give thanks for God's guidance over the years. Kimberly Mullings was there.
Early one morning, kiss her goodbye. Going back to the islands, I sing
Our Children, Our Future is the theme for the 2015 Independence celebrations. Residents of the East Grand Bahama kicking off the celebrations on Friday night at the park in High Rock. The first part of the event featured performances by various community churches, praise and worship, and dance teams, as well as gospel groups.
believe he is a mystical myth. A scientist that provisions of this. Don't be deceived by the devilish trick. They say with death we eternally rest.
Don't you know, don't you know?
Meanwhile, the cultural portion of the event included performances from the Grand Bahama Youth Choir, a Junkanoo Rush Out, East End Primary Dance Team, and Georgina Rigby.
I come to wine, I wanna jump up, I'm gonna shake, shake, shake all night.
The Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, took part in the celebration.
I want to encourage every member and every citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas who reside on the island of Grand Bahama to be a part of what we are proposing for this year. I also would like to encourage all church members, all pastors, to ensure that you be a part of all of the activities that are planned, and for us to make sure that we end with a bang and a grand event in Freeport on Independence Park.
East Grand Bahama MP and Deputy Leader of Opposition Peter Turnquest also brought remarks regarding this year's positive theme.
I want to encourage you all to continue to help us build this Bahamas, to be proud of our flag, to be proud of our country. Because as we reach maturity, surely, with God's help, we will leave a lasting legacy for these children, our future.
In attendance was Chief Counselor for East Grand Bahama Gladstone Russell and East Grand Bahama Administrator Deborah Cox-Strawn, both supporting the Independence theme as well this year. The Royal Bahamas Police Pop Band closed out the cultural extravaganza on a high note, and the celebrations moved to the west on Saturday. Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. The Northern Edition will continue in a moment.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Summer is here, and that means parents are looking for fun events for their kids. A camp is currently underway focusing on stage presence, and one lucky person will have an opportunity to attend for free thanks to a scholarship competition. Megan Shepherd has the story.
And my heart is set on you. You better shape.
This summer, young artists between the ages of 12 and 16 will be exposed to various disciplines within the performing arts arena. 24-year-old Autumn Joy Dames grew up on the stage and is skilled in various areas, including singing, dancing, and acting. This summer, she says she wants to give back to the community, sharing her talents with young people through her Performing Arts Summer Intensive.
It will begin July 6th to the 31st. We'll be hosted at the Regency in their green room. We're offering ballet, jazz, acting classes, voice lessons, musical theater, so much more. The tuition is $70 weekly, and there's also a chance to win a scholarship. Check out the information on Facebook. Just search Performing Arts Summer Intensive with Autumn Joy Dames. You don't necessarily need a strong background in all three disciplines, singing, acting, or dancing, but you just really need a burning desire to want to perform, and that's all you need.
Dames is currently studying the arts abroad. She says it is important to continue your growth and to chase your passion.
So I'm currently studying theater abroad. I have done numerous plays at the Regency Theater. I've been a member of the Bahamas National Youth Choir for 3 years, traveling around the world, performing as a cultural ambassador. I have some background in commercial work. So I say all of this to say that you're never done learning, and you can always grow to perfect your craft. But while you're learning, I think it's important to pass your information on to the younger generation. So that's why I really wanted to form this Performing Arts Summer Intensive, to ensure that when they get older, they will do the same thing and have this cycle of performing in the Bahamas and in our community in Grand Bahama, because it's so important to have the arts in our community. So I hope to see you there.
Students will be exposed to improv, Bahamian music, and Bahamian folk dancing. Megan Shepherd, ZNS Network News.
Well, there's another summer camp that's dedicated to kids interested in the arts and culture. As Italia Hall tells us, organizers say it is loaded with fun activities.
The ICANN Summer Camp into its 6th year on Grand Bahama, but this time in the new Cultural Arts Center. The camp is described as a haven for talents and gifts to flourish within the youth. Director of the ICANN Summer Camp, Kevin Tomlinson, says he saw the need for character building skills within the youth on the island, and that's how it all started.
I feel that if we want a changed Bahamas in the next 20 years, we have to start growing the change in the minds of the children today. Because in 20 years, they're going to be the adults. They're going to be the ones. So how do we want them to think? So this camp is designed like a life coach camp where regardless of whatever area they want to get into, they're able to use the character building skills.
The camp is accepting up to 100 kids per week and will run for the entire summer, ending on August 28th.
Parents will tell you their kids wake them up in the morning to come. They're excited. Why? Because here we teach the 4 C's. Curiosity, the power of investigation, courage, not just courage to believe in yourself, but courage to learn to sell yourself, to actually believe in what you're doing, regardless of what people think about you, anything, to have the self-inner power.
Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, giving support for the program as well.
The program is, my understanding, is more than just arts and culture. The program is revolving around leadership skills that are being imparted to our young people, with a variety of professionals throughout Grand Bahama participating in this camp and program. And so for us at the Ministry for Grand Bahama, we support this work. We encourage the private sector partners to join us as we develop programs like this one throughout Grand Bahama that will be instrumental in mentoring young people and allowing them to reach their true potential in arts and culture.
The camp starts at 8:30 a.m. and ends at 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. For more information, you can call 602-5471 or email icanbahamas@gmail.com. It's Talia Hall, ZNS Network News.
It's time now for Ask the Doctor.
This is Ask the Doctor. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt. Welcome. John and Sheila CP from Freeport both asked a similar question about reflux and treatment options. So today, I would like to focus on prevention strategies for acid reflux. Several weeks ago, I discussed what GERD is and its symptoms. Briefly, GERD is an abbreviation for gastroesophageal reflux disease, also commonly known as acid reflux. This is a chronic condition caused by the backwash of stomach acid into the passage between your throat and your stomach, called the esophagus. It can cause feelings of heartburn, nausea, vomiting, chest pain, difficulty swallowing, dry cough, sensation of a lump in your throat, sore throat, and the regurgitation of food. So, to answer your questions regarding treatment options, in severe cases, your doctor may have you take medication to manage these symptoms or even consider surgery to provide relief. But in most cases, you can manage and improve your symptoms by making a few simple changes in your lifestyle and diet, like maintaining a healthy weight. Excess pounds put pressure on your abdomen, pushing up your stomach and causing acid to back up into your esophagus. Avoid tight-fitting clothing. Clothes that fit tightly around your waist put pressure on your abdomen and the lower part of the esophagus. Avoid foods and drinks that trigger heartburn. Common triggers such as fatty or fried foods, tomato sauce, alcohol, chocolate, mint, garlic, onion, and caffeine may make heartburn worse. Avoid overeating by eating smaller meals. Don't lie down right after a meal. Wait at least 3 hours after eating before lying down or going to bed. Elevate the head of your bed. This can be done by simply using extra pillows while you sleep. And don't smoke. Smoking prevents the esophageal sphincter at the lower part of the esophagus to not function properly, resulting in reflux. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt, and this has been Ask the Doctor.
And you're invited to join the West Grand Bahama District Council at the Pre-Independence Street Festival and Junkanoo Rush Out this Friday night in West End. Various Junkanoo groups will be performing. Stay with us. Sports is up next with Ricardo Lightbourne.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Sports and Ricardo Lightbourne. This one tonight is for Master Dion McKinney. You see, the young brother will head back to St. George's High School in September, and he will go back as the head boy. He's also focused and grounded. Congratulations to the little bro. Well, the newly formed Grand Bahama Tennis Association held their annual general meeting and elections. And guess what? Kimberly Mulling spoke to the new president who's got some great plans for tennis here in Grand Bahama.
The results are in, and Natishka Barrett, a newcomer to the sport of tennis, was named president of the Grand Bahama Tennis Association.
I can't really speak to the history of tennis, but I can say that I'm in love with the sport. It has done a lot for me in helping me to refocus on positive activities, keeping me out of mischief, so I can just imagine the impact that it would have for children in the Bahamas, particularly in Grand Bahama.
Barrett says the association plans to revitalize the sport here on the island.
We want to bring back tournaments for the recreational players. We want to bring back what they would refer to as ham tournaments, where certain persons can have bragging rights depending on their success. And we also would like to have a strong junior developmental program in tennis. And one of the things that we would like to do almost, say immediately, is we want to have a free tennis clinic for as many children as possible.
She's looking forward to great things happening with the newly elected board members, who all share a common goal.
I have respect for everyone, and they're keenly interested in revitalizing tennis. They appear to give their time and efforts unselfishly. And some of them don't really have a horse in the race, so to speak. They really don't have any children that are currently in tennis, but because of the love of the game, they're very interested in assisting. So I'm very excited with the persons that I'm privileged to work with.
Barrett has one thing to say to the public regarding tennis.
Grand Bahama, watch for the GBTA, because we're going to revitalize and bring back fun to the game of tennis.
All interested persons are urged to contact the Grand Bahama Tennis Association via email at gbtasecretarygen@hotmail.com. Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Soul Sports.
Well, the Vice President is Alan Hall. David Stretch Morley is going to be right there as the treasurer, and he'll be assisted by Raymond Higgs, also Larika Russell as the secretary, and Derek Cape as assistant secretary, and 5 council members: Charmaine Wallace, O.J. Missick, Ryan Wong, Danny Rigby, and Richard Dick Morley. Way to go, guys. Well, Fast Track Management is hosting its 2nd annual Stride for Pride 5K this coming Saturday. They'll be at Taino Body Beach. Ravanna Ferguson says that it will be a family event with a 1-mile run for kids as well as some games that'll follow. Now, while last year was very successful, Ravanna says that he's expecting this year to be even bigger and better, as they added some special twists to what will happen on 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Fast Track Management is dedicated to health and well-being for the community throughout the year. We're expecting this event to be much larger than it was last year. So we are definitely looking to host a very fun event, and we're going to have a post-celebration following the award ceremony immediately held right out there on Taino Beach, July 4th.
Director of the Children's Home, that is Sheila Johnson. Smith is encouraging all of you guys to take part, and proceeds are going to go and take care of those 32 kids currently at the home. Deputy Chief Counselor of the Freeport City Council, Navarre Smith, says they're proud sponsors and they want you guys to take part.
And we're asking the public to support this event. This event is going to help us put food on the table, help pay for certain things that the children need, especially medication that they can't receive at the government clinics. So please come out.
When you look at Fast Track Management and the way they're operating their business, it's in a very creative manner, and it's in a socially responsible way. And so the City of Freeport Council always takes pride in sponsoring such events, because the thing that made us most excited as councilors is that part of the proceeds will be donated to the Children's Home.
And I told Ray I will take part in the 1-mile run. I got something for all them little children. I can beat up on all of them so I can brag on Monday. Anyhow, just kidding. Bahamas Baseball Federation Nationals was a huge success, folks. An opportunity to honor those who gave much to the sport of baseball. Charles Fisher has got this one.
The best of the best in young talent. Allen well represented as teams lined the field for the official opening. Fans also braved the heat to show their support. Many awards handed out to those that have made significant contribution to the sport of baseball. 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards also given out to Inagua's Etienne Farquharson and Eric Albury.
Well, I wasn't really expecting it, but, you know, I go out and I contribute for baseball because I think baseball have a bright future in the Bahamas.
It wasn't expected because I do things because I just like doing it, right? Basically, as they said, I've coached in JBLN for several years, coaching Freedom Farm for a number of years. And even when I came down here in Freeport, I got involved with Legacy because I understood they needed some help and worked there for several years, But now I'm back in Nassau, so I got to get back into, doing what I do.
For ZNS Total Sports, I'm Charles Fisher.
And Bahamas Baseball Federation says they're going to honor me next year for being in the dugout and the best fan for baseball. That'll tell you, it's going to be a long time. That's a look at sports.